We have some questions, as you know, Jeff.
I'd love to answer
some
questions.
fans have submitted.
I love you too.
There.
Thank you.
I am about to cry. Seriously. That is like the sweetest thing ever. Okay, I'm going to bring up our first. question. I'm going to bring up Wyatt first. Can we bring up Wyatt?
Come on over here, buddy. Now, what I love about the kids when they come up is whatever they're going to ask is usually pretty honest and straightforward, and you never know where it's going to go. So let's hear. Where are we going with this one?
How many NASCAR wins have you had in your career?
Well, that's a great question. Well, NASCAR wins. I guess you could add some of the NASCAR nationwide series races to it. But I think you're just talking Cup wins. I'm pretty sure. So I'm at 84. I'm tied for third right now with Bobby Allison and Darrell Waltrip. But we want to make that 85 this weekend, right?
That okay with you? That okay with you, Wyatt? There you go.
All right with you? All right, that's cool with me too. Hey, great question. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
There you go, Wyatt. Okay. All right,
buddy.
You know what? While we bring up our next, I'm going to extend that and say, do you know in your head how many wins since you've been racing ever since you were young? How many you've had?
Oh goodness. I mean, honestly, I'd lost track of some of the Cup wins there for a little while until.
Yeah, that stinks, huh? Doesn't that stink?
Well, well, there was a period of time where we won a lot, and it was hard to keep up with.
Right.
Then it kind of slowed down, and so I had the number pretty fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then we won a few more, and then we went for a long time without winning many. So I kind of forgot about it again. But when you do something like tie Cale Yarborough, then you go and tie Darrell Waltrip and Bobby Allison. That's a number you don't forget.
Right.
So
right.
Those are impressive numbers and something that means the world to me. But I've been racing since I was 5.5 years old, and you don't get to this level and have success if you didn't win a lot along the way. So somewhere my parents have a bunch of trophies somewhere that. They kept from me because they knew I'd break them along the way. So I don't know. It's a lot. It's a big number.
Let's bring up Jared Kenny. Okay, Jared, go ahead. Ask your question.
My question is, if you could race any 4 drivers throughout history, who would you race and where?
Jared's question was, if he could race any 4 drivers throughout history, who would he drive? Or who would he race against?
Well, I mean, I would first start off with Richard Petty and David Pearson. Those are the 2 guys ahead of me in wins. So they knew how to win a lot. And, I think the question that always gets brought up is, NASCAR of the old days versus NASCAR of today, cars being safer, power steering, all these modern technology comforts that we have. Who's the tougher driver? Who's the real driver? Who did more behind the wheel, along the way than anybody else? So I would certainly think that those 2 guys could get the job done better than anybody. So I'd love to race against him. I think that'd be awesome. I got to race against Richard Petty my very first race in 1992, the last race of the year. But both of us kind of went up in a ball of flames. So we didn't really get to race side by side with one another. Plus, I was coming in, he was going out. So I don't call that as the race. Now, okay, so I got to add 2 more. Past or present. Well, I loved racing with Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was always a lot of fun to race with. He upset me a lot of times. So, it wasn't always the funnest guy to race with. But if you survive the race, and especially if you beat him, that was a huge accomplishment. So I definitely put him on my list. Let's see. Trying to think who that next one would be.
Anybody today that you're looking?
Well, and I what I'd really like to do is go outside of NASCAR and go to somebody like Mario Andretti or somebody like that. To me, Mario and AJ Foy, those 2 guys were always recognized along with Richard as some of the greatest drivers of all time. So I think that'd be pretty cool if I could cheat a little bit. All right.
Go. Okay, Jared.
What track? No. I'd probably say something like Old Darlington. Old Darlington. Slipping, sliding around. Tires were good for like 1 lap.
There you go, Jared.
I love Darlington.
Jared, nice hand, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Let's bring up Ryan Gagnon.
Sure. Is this your son?
Now you're Glenn, and this is Ryan.
Oh,
Ryan.
this is Ryan. Okay.
Come on over,
oh,
Ryan.
You're
come on
the
over here, buddy.
cameraman.
Come on over.
Come on over here.
There you go, buddy. Don't be shy.
First, we're going to take a picture. Then we're going to ask a
There we
question.
go. I'm going to put my head in the back, be goofy, ruin the picture. Ryan, come on over here. I'm going to give you. You're going to ask you a question. Here you go. Here's your question, Ryan. Okay. Okay, here we go.
What do you do when you aren't driving in a race?
What do you do?
And well, hold on. And do you let your wife drive?
That's the best part.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Well, I will say that besides just racing on Sundays or Saturday nights, and driving the race car, I do like to drive. So I like to drive even when I'm at home. I like to be the one driving the family and everybody to wherever we're going. But my wife is an excellent driver. When I Well, she's not here right now, but she might hear about it.
You never know.
With Twitter and all those things.
YouTube,
these days.
all that stuff. You got to get it out there.
You're never safe. But I will say that I mean that she is a great driver. When I met her, and we were in New York City. She had a car, and I rode with her early when we started dating, and I was pretty impressed with her driving skills. And so. Yeah. So, and I gotta say, that means a lot to me. What do we say that as men we're looking for a wife that reminds us of our mothers in some ways, And my mom was an awesome driver. So even though my dad tries to take all the credit for my driving skills, I gotta say my mom contributed greatly to it as well. So I had great parents, but. So I do like to drive. I do most of the driving, and in the driveway, I might even let my daughter drive a little bit. So
she's 4.
She's 4.
Yeah.
And in a month or two, I think Leo might be ready too.
There you go.
He'll be 1.
All right, Ryan. There you go, buddy.
Great question.
Professional
Thank
photographer
you guys.
right there.
Appreciate it.
Here you go.
Great question. Appreciate
Okay.
it. So
I'm gonna bring up.
I guess I didn't completely answer the question about what do I like to do when what do I do when I'm not at the racetrack. These days, it's being as hands-on and as busy as you can only imagine with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
I was going to ask how you like being a dad. I'm so happy that you're, because you can see it in your face. After your first child was born, I'm like, look at that guy. He's the happiest guy in the world. I'm so happy for you.
Don't get me wrong. Those first few weeks, I was walking around like this in a daze. I love being a parent.
Good for you. Good for you. Let's bring up Cheryl. Cheryl.
Hello.
Meet Jeff Gordon. Maybe know who he is.
Nice to meet
you.
You. Great hat, great shirt.
Here's your question.
Thank you for coming out here. Turn around over here.
Here you go. All right. No, don't be nervous. It's okay.
Now you have to yell in his microphone. He's one of those radio, voices, so he projects.
How much longer do you think you'll be driving?
Now listen, I may have AARP on the car, but that doesn't mean that I'm thinking about retirement. And I am going to be. I'm just giving you a hard time. And I am going to be 40 coming up, actually, less than a month. Actually, a few weeks. Thank you.
Wow, 40. Wow. Awesome. 40.
I'm just a baby.
Yeah.
But, I guess I'm not in the beginning of my career, so there's no doubt that it comes to my mind more these days than it ever did before about, how long I can do this. Now, there's a few years ago, I was having some back problems. We weren't running very good. I started thinking to myself, this is not fun. This is, I got into racing because I love it and because I was competitive and I was enjoying it. And I always said that if I'm not healthy, if I'm not competitive, and if I'm not enjoying it, then I don't want, to just be out there. And so, those things have crept in there at times, but I love the year that we're having right now. We're winning a couple races. We've got a lot of momentum. We're moving up in points. I think we got a heck of a race team. I love my crew chief, Alan Gustafson. And so right now I'm enjoying it, so I'm not thinking about it. We've got a 3-year contract with Drive to End Hunger and DuPont and Pepsi. So, I don't have to think about it for a little bit longer. But who knows what we'll do, when that time comes, what the next step will be. But if I'm still enjoying things and having fun and competitive like we are right now, then we'll keep it going as long as we can.
You're doing
now,
just fine.
Yeah.
You're doing just fine.
Now listen, I'm no Mark Martin. All right, and I don't know anyone that is. This guy is in incredible shape, incredibly talented. What is he? 52 years old now.
Right,
Still
right.
out there, getting it done like he is. I will not be that guy. Not because I don't want to, because I won't be capable.
Right.
I know it. So I know it won't be 52.
There you go. All right.
Thank you so much.
Let's bring up Tabitha Call. We have one last quick question. We got only a little bit of time, so come on up. Come on over. Here we go. Who's going to ask the question? Here it is. Okay, Tabitha, go ahead.
Nice to see you guys.
I want to know what got you into racing and what age did you start at? He's my racer.
Is he racing right now? What's he racing?
Tiger Sprint and a junior sportsman.
Awesome. I love it, man. High five. Give him a round of applause for that.
There you go.
Now, when did he start racing?
He started at the age of 5 in a quarter midget.
Yeah. That's exactly how I got started. Quarter midget racing, I think, is an awesome way to get into racing. To me, what I like about quarter midget racing, because it is somewhat open wheel, but with plenty of bumpers, it's a safe way of racing, but it still has to teach the driver how to pass with some skill. It's not just go in there and knock the guy out of the way. You can always do that later once you get to NASCAR. So I started around the same age, around 5.5 years old. My mom, my stepfather got me into racing. Now I'm from California originally, so I started racing quarter midgets out there. I did some go-kart racing. The thing that didn't exist back then when I was racing, and that kind of got me to where I was at a very young age, is that there was no next step. When you reached about 12, 13 years old, there was really no form of racing that existed for kids that age. Certainly not any that took you to a level to get you to this level. So for me, my stepdad, which you got to understand my stepdad, but he said, well, I read the other day there's a 15-year-old kid racing sprint cars. You're 13 and a half. You can do it at 13 if he can do it at 15. So basically, my stepfather said, let's go sprint car racing. So I raced a full-size sprint car when I was 13 and a half. Now, it scared the living heck out of me, okay? To get behind the wheel of a 650, back then there was 650 horsepower, open wheel car like that on dirt was incredibly intimidating. But I got to say that as a young kid, and whatever my stepdad and my mom recognized in me that probably I didn't even recognize myself, in 6 months, 8 months, I was able to pick it up so fast and just run with it. And because of that, I was racing against guys that were no less than 25. Most of them were in their 30s, and so I was getting this valuable experience at a very, very young age. My point to this story is race
He's talking to you, buddy.
Here's what I want you to do.
He's not talking to the 49-year-old
Okay.
guy. He's talking to you, Chief.
All right, you always number one, do something that you love, that you're passionate about. The only way you're going to be good at it is to work hard at it. Okay. And make sure that whatever you do, that it's affordable for the family and safe. Okay, so I like sanctioned events with cars that you purchase and there's safety features and all the things under a sanctioning body. I like that. But the thing is, always you got to challenge yourself. He's a sponge at his age, so as soon as he excels at something, you got to dangle the trophies out there, because if you're not getting the trophies, then there's no reason to move to the next level. But if you're getting the trophies on a regular basis, you got to move fast. And you got to keep getting more and more experience. You look like a winner to me. I think you're getting some trophies. All right, he's won 6 in a row. If you
Six in a row. Wow.
So that's awesome. But when you win 6 in a row, it means that it's too easy. I'm sorry. that means you're doing something really good, but you need to challenge yourself a little more. So you need to move up to that next level as fast as you possibly can.
He's one of the youngest drivers in his junior sportsman class. He's only 7.5, and he's racing with 10-year-olds.
Wow.
All right.
Good for you, buddy.
Time to go
Good
race with the 13 and 14-year-olds. It
Good
sounds
luck.
to me like. Keep
Good
it up,
luck.
man. Great job. Great job. Keep it up.
I think, give him a nice hand, everybody.
I think I might be gone by the time you get there.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see you out there one day.